So, everyone is talking about, of course, Impact Wrestling last night, the AEW Impact crossover. What does this mean? What actually happened? There is a ton of information and news to get into coming out of last night's show. What we're going to talk about in this video, and don't worry, we're going to cover everything in several videos, but what we're going to talk about in this video is the appearance by AEW President Tony Khan. Yes, Tony Khan appeared on camera, on screen, on Impact Wrestling last night on AXS TV. So what actually happened? Wow. AEW President Tony Khan appeared on Impact Wrestling last night alongside AEW announcer Tony Schiavone. Aside from a few backstage cameos, this was actually Tony Khan's first real on-screen, in-character promo. It was really the first time we've ever seen Tony Khan for an extended period of time on camera, and it wasn't on AEW programming, it was on Impact Wrestling on AXS TV. Now, as I mentioned, previously when it comes to AEW, we've obviously heard them mention Tony Khan's name several times. We've actually seen him very infrequently appear in just maybe a cameo kind of situation, or out of the corner of your eye you might see Tony Khan. Of course, we saw Tony Khan last week on AEW programming very briefly as Don Callis and Kenny Omega, the new AEW World Champion, stormed past him at the end of the special Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite. But last night on Impact Wrestling was really truly the first time that Tony Khan had really appeared on camera in a proper appearance in any professional wrestling programming, let alone Impact Wrestling. So it was a very monumental event. Now, Schiavone and Khan popped up in a bit of a throwback style paid advertisement for All Elite Wrestling. Now, in the mock advertisement, Khan sarcastically mentioned how his appearance comes via paid and planned advertisement, likely throwing shade at the new AEW World Champion Kenny Omega's abrupt and unexpected appearance on Impact Wrestling last night. Khan mentioned that if he wanted to stop Kenny Omega appearing on Impact Wrestling last night, he could have, but as a bit of generosity, he chose not to, but he did ensure that everyone knew he had the power to do so. This was pretty much what pretty much what Tony Khan said during the advertisement. He said, quote, "Hey Impact Wrestling, it's great to be here tonight via this paid ad that's allowed me to join you. I understand that the brand new AEW World Champion Kenny Omega is going to be here on this show tonight, so I thought I would join him. If I wanted to stop it, Tony, I absolutely could. I could file an injunction, I could tell Kenny Omega that he's in breach of contract, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I thought I would actually help fund the show via this ad because I think it's going to help. It's going to help the budget and it's going to help the bottom line, and it hopefully helps AEW promote to have our own champion on this show." Now, Tony Khan, after he said that, then plugged tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite on TNT, which includes Orange Cassidy versus MJF for the Dynamite Diamond after the Battle Royal last week. It also features the Young Bucks facing the Hybrid 2. Now, what was very interesting during this Tony Khan, we'll call it an advert, should we call it a promo? Let's call it a promo. After mentioning the tag team contest between the Bucks and the Hybrid 2, Khan did then mention Impact Wrestling's tag team division and teased he might be scouting their teams in the future. We'll touch on that in a second because that's very important and certainly a seed that has been planted for the future there. This is what Tony Khan said, quote, "Some of these teams around here, maybe I'll come check them out. In fact, I have some investments in Nashville. There's some rumors that I might even buy Impact Wrestling." Now, Tony Khan then, with Tony Schiavone next to him, referenced Schiavone's brief tenure with Impact Wrestling all of those years ago, to which Schiavone then said yes, he spent one night in TNA, then, quote, "quit the business for 18 years, end quote, throwing more shade at Impact whilst on the show via paid advertisement. The ad then concluded with Tony Khan plugging TNA Hall of Famer, the very first TNA Hall of Famer Sting, upcoming interview with Schiavone tonight on Dynamite, as well as extending an invitation to Impact Wrestling Executive Vice President Don Callis and the new AEW World Champion Kenny Omega to join Tony Khan and Schiavone on Dynamite tonight on TNT. Now, I must say when it comes to this promo, because that's what it was a promo, obviously it wasn't a real paid advertisement, hate to break kayfabe. In terms of this promo, you know what, I enjoyed it, and as I mentioned at the top of the video, it was very momentous. It really was. It was the first time that Tony Khan has appeared on camera in a pro wrestling program, in a speaking role, doing a promo. So that in itself was a big deal. We haven't seen that on AEW programming. We haven't seen that on the programming that he owns and produces. We saw it for the first time on Impact Wrestling on AXS TV. So a big momentous occasion, quite frankly. And in the history books, when you're going to say when is the first time Tony Khan properly appeared on a pro wrestling program, it's not going to be AEW, it's going to be Impact Wrestling. To me, again, this everything that happened last night on Impact Wrestling, whether it was the Tony Khan promo, whether it was the Don Callis and Kenny Omega segment to end the show, this didn't feel like a one-off. It really didn't feel like a one-off. Now, I know those reports came out last week saying, oh, the relationship between AEW and Impact, it's not going to be that intertwined. It's going to be a one-off. It's going to be Kenny Omega appearing on Impact on Tuesday. In response to that, we're going to get the Good Brothers appearing in AEW, and that's it. It's not that intertwined. It's nothing, really. It's just the next step in Don Callis signing with AEW when he becomes Kenny Omega's full-time on-screen manager and leaves Impact Wrestling. What I will say is, coming out of Impact Wrestling last night, that really didn't feel like the case to me. This felt like the beginning of something. This absolutely felt like more than just a one-off. It felt like definitely a seed planting exercise throughout the show. Whenever we had this AEW and Impact crossover, this felt like the beginning of something bigger. And Tony Khan's appearance alone feels like this is the next step, the next chapter in whatever this storyline, whatever this crossover and cross-promotion between both promotions is. Tony Khan's appearance, don't make any mistake about it, is a big deal. Having the AEW president make his first on-camera proper appearance on Impact Wrestling, that's very calculated, that's by choice. And to me, again, it feels like the next step in something bigger for whatever this storyline is. I liked the idea of a paid advertisement. It reminded me of the old NWO paid advertisements in WCW back in the 90s. Was it exactly the same as that? No. You can see with the backdrop, actually, it's a bit of a old school sort of 1980s WCW backdrop kind of deal with Tony Schiavone and his microphone, like they used to do in the studio wrestling days. Nevertheless, I like the idea of the paid advertisement. It makes logical sense. It does make logical sense. How else is the AEW president, the owner and president of the rival promotion, how else is he going to get on Impact Wrestling? He doesn't have an open invitation. Now, that to me makes logical sense of, okay, how do I get on the show? Paid advertisement. That's how I get on the air during that period of time. And I like that Tony Khan had a bit of personality here. I like that Tony Khan didn't just play it down the middle. He seemed very confident in what he was saying. Of course, it was a pre-tape, so I'm sure there might have been multiple takes. I don't know. We'll find out that later on. If it was a one-take kind of deal, that would be awesome. I mean, credit to him. Kind of proving the boys, as it were, in AEW, this is how you do it. I like the fact that he mentioned that he could have prevented Kenny Omega appearing, because let's face it, as the AEW World Champion and as someone that is an executive vice president of AEW and under an AEW contract, a talent contract and an employee contract, in real life, if this were real, and I know people hate to say that in pro wrestling, oh, if this was real, blah, 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 but if this were real, absolutely. Tony Khan could have prevented Kenny Omega from appearing on a rival pro wrestling program. It's in pretty much every pro wrestling contract, in the major contracts, like in WWE and AEW, you can't appear on rival programming. So absolutely, Tony Khan could have filed an injunction, but he didn't. To me, in terms of the storyline, what did this achieve when it comes to Tony Khan? I'll tell you exactly what I felt that it achieved. I felt that, one, it gave Tony Khan some personality, and to me, it felt like the rebuttal. It felt like AEW's rebuttal. It was kind of positioned, the way I interpreted it, as the sort of, you didn't get to me sort of deal. I'm in control. This whole storyline that I've been saying it could be of, Kenny Omega and Don Callis kind of holding AEW to ransom, and they stole the AEW World Championship. They screwed AEW. They screwed Tony Khan. And they're holding this AEW World Championship hostage. They're holding AEW to ransom to get their champion back on the show. This was kind of Tony Khan's response of very subtly saying, I'm a rich guy. I paid for this advert. I'm in control. You might think you're involved and you're in control here, Don Callis, but Tony Khan, I'm really the one that's got all of the power here and all of the control here. I like the sort of chess element of that side of the storyline. Does that mean that Tony Khan's going to be feuding with Don Callis in terms of on the microphone or in the boardroom or in these pre-tape promos, in these vignettes? Who knows? Who knows? And you know what? I'm not totally against it. I'm not totally against Tony Khan becoming an infrequent character in this storyline. And I know people might respond to that saying, well, does he have any business being in front of the camera? He's not a pro wrestler. He's not got much history in pro wrestling apart from being a fan. We don't know his ability as a performer. We know his ability as a businessman, but what's his ability as a performer? Well, I would respond to that is that the reason why I'm not against him being an infrequent character in this storyline, because it's real. It's real. It reflects real life. Tony Khan is the owner and the president and CEO, and whatever title you want to give him, of AEW. Don Callis is the executive vice president of Impact Wrestling. These are two corporations that are meant to be facing off and feuding, I suppose. So that's why I'm not against Tony Khan being a character in this. In other stuff in AEW, do I want to see him be on camera making matches, like Vince McMahon or a general manager? No, that doesn't interest me. But in this storyline, this is so unique and so trying to blur the lines between fact and fiction, it would make sense for Tony Khan to get involved. Logically, it makes sense. If you're a champion of your promotion that you fund and you founded, if he's appearing on another show, of course you would get involved. If this was real life business, of course you would get involved and release a statement and do all this kind of stuff. It would make total sense. So again, the storyline here to me is that Don Callis, the Carney ex-wrestler, the invisible hand, right? This is what he's calling himself, the guy who's manipulating all these events to happen. He had everything planned. Everything about his life for the last 5 years or so has been about the plan, and plan that involves Kenny Omega. So much so that he and Kenny Omega, but particularly Don Callis, took advantage of this naive billionaire fan on a larger platform, on a larger network than he is with Impact Wrestling. And what did he do? He conspired against Tony Khan. He conspired against AEW. He stole their world championship. He screwed AEW, made them look like idiots in one of their biggest shows of the year. And this was Tony Khan's ability to respond. How do I respond to this? I have to respond to what happened to me and my company last week on TNT. And I enjoyed the sort of response that he didn't seem phased. He tried to play off like, look, I'm a billionaire. I'm not threatened by you or Impact Wrestling. If I wanted to buy this show, I could. And like I bought the airtime and this ad time, I could ruin you just like that. But I have bigger plans. I'm not going to stop Kenny Omega appearing. I'm not going to be petty. I've got something else. And I liked that. I liked seeing this bit of fire, this bit of fight from Tony Khan. Again, I think it made sense. I think it totally made sense in the grand scheme of things of what they're trying to achieve with this storyline. To me, that absolutely made sense in that part of it. So again, I enjoyed that. I think he did a very good job, Tony Khan, in his appearance. And he talks about scouting tag teams, as I mentioned. We said we were going to talk about the scouting tag teams line. Of course, that pretty much, to me, confirms the reports that have been out there saying that as part of this working relationship, the Good Brothers, Impact's World Tag Team Champions, Impact Wrestling's Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, will be coming to AEW to face off against the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks. The fact that he mentioned tag teams there, the fact that there is a report out there saying that one of the interpromotional matches we're going to get is the Good Brothers versus the Young Bucks, it makes the most sense, right? That makes total sense of what we're going to get out of this relationship. That makes sense. So again, I liked that line. I enjoyed that line. And again, it kind of gives you an indication as to where we're going with this. But again, if you look at everything we saw last night, just take into account everything we saw last night. The Tony Khan appearance, the Kenny Omega segment, you can't say to me at this point that this isn't a one-off, because it just feels like it is. There is so much more to come here. Much, much more to come here. This definitely feels like only beginning. And to me, what's crucial in that, the fact that it's just the beginning, this reflects exactly what the Young Bucks were saying. The Young Bucks, when they did that interview a couple of, last week or so, and we spoke about this here on one of the videos we did, we spoke about the Young Bucks essentially came out and they said, look, we don't know what this working relationship is with Impact Wrestling. We're trying to figure out what this working relationship with Impact is going to be going forward. Quite frankly, right now, we're not too sure ourselves, essentially. But what we can tell you is that we're very excited by it and we're trying to figure it out as we go along. That's essentially what we're looking to do when it comes to this Impact Wrestling AEW relationship. And that's what last night's events kind of said to me, in that this does feel like the beginning. It does feel like they're figuring it out, but they're very excited by the possibilities that this working relationship between AEW and Impact Wrestling presents them. It was unique last night. It was slightly bizarre, and it was, quite frankly, just as a fan, it was cool. It was cool to see not only Kenny Omega, but Tony Khan, the president of the opposition, or one of the oppositions, the president of AEW and Impact Wrestling programming. It felt fresh. It felt unique. There is certainly a buzz about it, and I thought for his first official promo that he's done on camera, I thought Tony Khan did a good job. obviously, as I mentioned, people might be concerned about him becoming a regular character on screen. That's true, and there certainly is a fine line to that, and I would hope that AEW and Impact Wrestling, for that matter, know where that line is, and they don't tend to cross it, because let's face it, we don't want to have this show and this relationship bogged down by performers that aren't going to perform in the ring. Nevertheless, as I mentioned, I'm not against Tony Khan being a character in this storyline because it does reflect real life. It does make sense in terms of the storyline. And quite frankly, if the AEW World Champion was running around to all these promotions, you would be worried going, why wouldn't in real life, if this was a real deal, the president would absolutely be saying something of, what's my world champion doing? Why is he doing this without the permission, etc. That to me makes a lot of sense. So that's why I'm not against Tony Khan being into this. And also in reality, who's the biggest advocate of AEW? Of course, it's the president of the company himself. Tony Khan is all over social media. He's all over media interviews and media calls and all this kind of stuff. Tony Khan is everywhere when it comes to that and it comes to AEW promotion. So of course, if he's in a rivalry with another promotion, of course he would get involved. He would have to get involved as a representative of the company. Is he going to wrestle? Of course not. Of course Tony Khan isn't going to wrestle. He's not going to wrestle Don Callis or anything like that. But the storyline here is that the EVP of one company, a company that is perceived to be a rival to AEW, regardless of its size or stature, screwed over the president of another company. And therefore, he kind of had to make an appearance last night on Impact Wrestling. And I enjoyed how they got his rebuttal in. It made sense. We see it all the time in politics, don't we, right? You see someone slander someone or someone say negative things about someone and their policies. And it's kind of like, how do we respond to them? By airtime. By airtime, whether it's opposite them or whether it's during an interview that they're doing, whatever, air an advert that basically says the opposite of what they're saying or gives us at least an opportunity to rebuff what they're saying and give our point of view. And again, it kind of expanded this potential Tony Khan character. I have the money, let's buy airtime and let's respond. It made total sense to me and they pulled it off. I enjoyed as well the Tony Schiavone Impact Wrestling reference. Again, I thought it was really well done. And to me, again, along with the Kenny Omega stuffs, it just screams to me, this isn't over yet. This isn't over just yet. Now, we know, of course, Kenny Omega and Don Callis are at Dynamite tonight. It would be interesting if somehow Impact Wrestling responded to Tony Khan's advert by buying their own TV time, buying their own ad space during tonight's AEW Dynamite on TNT. I think that's potentially something we could see. Maybe a paid announcement this time by Don Callis or by the other Executive Vice President of Impact Wrestling, Scott D'Amore. They could sort of go on the lines of, you think we're intimidated by you, your company, and your billions of dollars? Look, we can buy airtime too. And to be honest, you're there in Jacksonville, Florida, but I'm pretty sure Impact Wrestling was the original company on the national stage that was based out of Florida, specifically Orlando. And we find your sarcasm and buying airtime during our programming insulting. And while Don Callis and Kenny Omega may have fired the first shot, there's no doubt that Impact Wrestling will win this war. You're going up against a company that's been in existence for 18 years to your 18 months. So I think that could be a really gripping kind of vignette and response that could air tonight on Dynamite. That would be a lot of fun to see as well. So to me, it just felt like seeds were planted. I really do feel like seeds were planted. This will get a lot bigger and it will be expanded on massively, whether it's talent trading, TV specials, pay-per-views, whatever. I'm really excited by it, and I'm excited by the potential that it offers going forward. So I'm very excited for that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Those will respond to it. The critics of it will say, well, Tony Khan, he didn't appear live, and Tony Khan didn't do this, and it wasn't Tony Khan live in the Impact Zone. What did you expect? What did you expect? I'm let down that it wasn't Tony Khan live in the ring. I'm let down that it wasn't Tony Khan or Kenny Omega there live. Do me a favour, honestly. Of course it wasn't live. Of course Tony Khan wasn't live. It was a pre-tape. Impact was taped 2 weeks ago for the remainder of the year in 2021. What do you expect? I think people maybe need to lower their expectation when it comes to the programming or how they do it. The fact is we saw something we didn't think we were going to see. I enjoy crossovers in a variety of TV programming. It's not just in my pro wrestling. So I was a big fan of it. Nevertheless, I enjoyed it, and hopefully there'll be more to come in this fascinating storyline in the future. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Tony Khan's appearance last night on Impact Wrestling on AXS TV? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, chatting about Impact Wrestling, AEW, WWE, NXT, all those fun things pro wrestling. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Get involved with the community that we're building here at Wrestle News 365. You won't regret it. Every opinion is welcome. If you enjoy Impact, if you don't enjoy Impact, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll do my best to respond and reply. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button. It really does help us out here on YouTube. Go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now. Or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.